Welcome back to Super Tuesday Recap. This is Chris and Deepom here, and we're trying something new here. We are doing our joint Arrow and Legend of Tomorrow Super Tuesday, mainly just because there's too much stuff going on the feed right now, and at some point, I'm not gonna lie, I've even flirted the idea of combining the Flash and Arrow because we record them back to back, and at some point that might happen and just make them one big episode, but we're kind of doing that. We're going to try that out this season with Arrow and Legend of Tomorrow, see how that works. Give us your feedback. Let us know if you feel some kind of way about that or not. But, yeah, we're doing Arrow Season 5, Episode 2, The Recruits, and Legend of Tomorrow Season 2 premiere, Out of Time. We're going to start off with Arrow first. We'll go ahead and in the show notes, you'll be a minute marker so you guys know where to jump to Legend of Tomorrow. Or if you want to do either or. So we're going to do that first. We didn't get any new reviews, so we're going to jump right into this. The synopsis for this episode: Oliver recruits Curtis, Wild Dog, and Evelyn Sharp for his team, but his training methods prove to be too much for some to handle. In flashbacks, Oliver continues his initiation into the Bratva. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. This went exactly as I expected it to go.
Yeah, like that was, and we talked about this on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. review, how sometimes when the show gets to this kind of later seasons, you find a formula, but then you find twists to do it in.
Mm-hmm.
Like we knew Ollie was going to push people away and then learn his lesson and then bring them back. Yeah. The way they did it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I had somebody email me, they hit me up on the movie trailer reviews page, and they said that they were shocked that we actually enjoyed the first season because it felt so much like they're rehashing earlier seasons. And I'm like, I agree they are, but I feel like they're doing it in different ways and it's being done better. We're only 2 episodes in. Who knows how this is going to play out, but we're seeing changes. Like, you got to think about it this way. If you're saying that this is like the previous seasons, in those previous seasons, Oliver never agreed to help this fast.
Right.
He never agreed to put a team together this fast, you know, and if they continue down this road, you're going to have Oliver building a new team with the old team eventually in some capacity coming back.
And that's the thing, and I think that this plays into the other show as well that we're going to be reviewing next. This show's at its best when it's going 1,000 miles an hour.
Yes.
And then not stretching this over like a 4-episode arc of Ollie slowly learning his lesson and being reminded that he already learned this lesson when he's getting beaten up by the Bratva. Like, they just hit fast forward.
Yeah.
And it made a lot of sense. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I do. Because I think that what you're seeing is, you're seeing hints from earlier, again, even down to having Oliver trying to balance being mayor versus being a vigilante. He never knew it, which is kind of what he had to do in season 1 and 2 with being Oliver Queen and the Hood or the Arrow, if you will, right. In those 2 seasons. But even here, he's handling it better, and you're seeing improvements. And you're also seeing the team around him not... And again, this is why I say that I'm enjoying this, because while it's familiar, it's still different. The people around Oliver aren't letting themselves be bullied like they did in those previous seasons. So you have him telling Felicity, you need to wear a mask. You're going to wear a mask. I'm going to wear a mask. We're not going to do this. And she's like, no, I'm not doing that. And I love how he came down and was like, so we're not doing a mask. He's like, nope, we're not doing a mask. You have Thea has really, like, Thea, again, is like the sleeper character on the show to me because she is next to Oliver, obviously being the title character, and actually in some ways even more, has changed so much and become her own character here that it's incredible to watch. I mean, seeing her basically be her own, basically running off. Like, at some point, I wouldn't be so shocked if somehow Thea becomes mayor.
But say she's right now, she's functioning as mayor.
Right. I mean, you got to think about it. This is the young girl that we saw when we first introduced her was, the rich, spoiled brat who would get drugs, who did drugs. Then she started running the club. And then she, she's now getting into politics. Like, Thea's become a force of her own, and that doesn't even get into the whole idea of her being speedy and being a badass who can kick ass. It's just, we're not even getting to there. Like, just her, when Oliver said, hey, listen, Quentin's back on the drink, he's back on the sauce, we're not going to be able to give him a job, we're going to do this. And when she basically made the executive decision, it's like, no, we're not going to do that. Right. I'm going to give him a reason, to not drink anymore. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to help him. I mean, that's just something, that's stuff you did not see in those previous seasons. You did not see people openly defy Oliver like this and basically tell him, no, you're wrong, which is kind of what we've been waiting for 4 seasons.
Well, this has been the arc of all of every season so far. It's been Oliver slowly pushing people away and them eventually breaking and telling him to stop it. They condensed, what they're telling you is that this is not going to be the same character arc.
Right.
Whether you love or hate the episode, what you should love is the message they're sending the viewer is that, that season-long thing where we do with Ollie, that's not happening.
Yeah. By the end of this episode, he realizes that he's training them wrong. And he again, how long when you think about, because you have to understand that they're aware of their throwbacks to season 1 because they mention it here. They mention it throughout these last 2 episodes. They pointed this out. And, by the end of this episode, he reveals who he is to this entire team. And again, this is a team last week who he was talking about he didn't trust. So now he's throwing a leap of faith and is going in there and doing something totally different and revealing who he is to all these people. Grant Curtis already knew.
It reflects the growth that they've allowed the character to have in that he recognized that in himself too.
Right.
It allowed him to not. He's like, he knows it's like, you know what? The ability. Oliver season 1 didn't have the ability to make a leap of faith.
Exactly.
He had to earn it, and he's done it over the last 4.
And I think this is also a showing that you're not going. The people around him are not going to let him revert, even though he's kind of tried to. He's not going to, because they won't let him. And he's gonna have to deal. It's like either you deal with like, hey, the Curtis, Wild Dog, and Evelyn didn't. I love the fact that he hates being called Wild Dog.
That's the best, and the fact that you can't call him anything but
right.
that.
And I love that Ramirez was like, all right, I'm staying as long as we change the name. It's like, well, that's not happening.
No,
keeping Wild Dog. But the whole idea of this episode was, and I kind of figured it out, that the way they ring the bell is to work together and don't go at Oliver one at a time, right? And while we never get them doing that, what you do see is you quietly see them come together and say, we're not fucking with you because you don't trust us, so we can't trust you. And so they do, in a way, metaphorically ring the bell together and work together by saying no, which is not something we normally see people do to Oliver. We normally don't see people go, no. So he's had to come back and work and take these leap of faith. We get into that later on when he does with Roy with Ragman, taking a leap of faith there and reaching out to him. So yeah, I mean, I know people are like, hey, this feels like the same. I would argue that almost all Supergirl, no, but all the shows we've been covering on Super Tuesday are kind of going down this road where there's a lot of things that feel similar to their first seasons, and I feel like they're, particularly on the CW shows, they're getting back to their roots, which is, I think that if people had problems with all the shows last season, it might have been that. And I think it's working. I think it worked really well for them. So, man, Diggle should have stayed home.
Diggle needs to just not leave the house. Now his daughter's a son. and now he's getting framed. Diggle, man, why couldn't you just chill?
I gotta say, between this aspect and then the thing with Felicity and Ragman, which is definitely going to come out later on. I love the throwback to last season and basically the fact that, hey, you dropped a nuke on a United States city. You can't let that slide. You can't just in one episode last season literally have, in a way, Damien Dark did kind of win. He dropped a nuke on us. He got a nuke dropped on a city.
And because of where it happened in the story, you got some of the after effects with Felicity in very quiet moments, but loudly it was, hey, tighten up. We got to get this shit done.
Right. And so I love the fact that they're kind of going back and that you have Diggle and his team is out there trying to find some of the stolen technology that could allow this, and turns out he's in a dirty unit, and now he's going to be trying to blame for that, which I think you start seeing how this brings him back to Star City and back with Oliver. But then you have this thing that Ragman is literally who he is because of that nuclear.
He exists because of the nuke.
And when Felicity hears him tell that to Oliver, you're like, oh, this is going to be good because he's going to be on the team and he doesn't know that she's the one that picked that place. And while it's not her fault,
isn't it?
See, damn it, you're okay.
I'm not saying like, oh, it's definitively her fault, but I think the conversation has to be had.
Oh, no. It's going to be had. And it's going to be interesting to see when that comes out and how it comes out. And
well, if the rags are magic and they're able to detect guilt on that CEO, I'm pretty sure it's going to come out pretty soon. Because Felicity feels awfully guilty. Whether she should be or not, it's a whole debate. She feels guilty as hell.
Almost like they have their own vengeance demon on on Arrow this season. Yeah, that's gonna be.
I hope they don't ever say that.
No, I hope so either. I hope they don't. But that's gonna be It's gonna be a rough one, yo. It's gonna be a rough one. What else we had here? Like I said, I enjoy seeing how this works, and I'm loving the fact that this team for Oliver he's going to put together is going to have a bunch of different people. It's going to have of different skill levels, and we know what Evelyn Sharp can do. We know what Wild Dog does. We know what Ragman does. It's going to be interesting seeing how they get Curtis. Like I know how Curtis, what Curtis is supposed to be, Mr. Terrific and everything. But it's going to be interesting seeing how they put him together because he's the only one we haven't really seen in the field. And doing
and I think it's going to be very pointed. I think it's going to be one of his big arcs is finding his own way to fight because. In the field's not the place for him right now.
And I love the fact that Oliver even said, like, I'm going to be tougher on you. Which makes sense. It's like, well, yeah, dude, you're kind of the one that doesn't really have any fighting skills. Everybody else is kind of, whether Oliver wants to admit it or not, they've proven themselves in the field in some capacity. You literally got your ass kicked last time when you came in and said you want to be part of the team too. So, yeah. It's gonna be interesting seeing how that works and goes in there. Follow up from last week. The dude definitely was a detective.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be another interesting thing. And again, themes of the first season.
Right.
Felicity lying to Detective Malone. Is exactly the way Oliver would lie to her and everybody else in season 1.
Right.
I like I said, I enjoy those themes that even though they feel similar, they're different, and I can't fault the show for doing that because the two seasons that people love the most about Arrow were season 1 and 2. So if you take what worked from those seasons and they're adding in the fantastical stuff of season 3 and 4, I think so far, again, it's too early to tell. We're only 2 episodes in. It's been a pretty good blend of that. The stuff that we missed from season 1 and 2 and the, what's basically happened since Barry Allen and the particle accelerator went off. It's been a good mix of that. So, yeah. Any theories on who you think Prometheus is?
So I don't have any good ones yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be interesting because we've got for the first time the Arrow is so closely tied to the cops. tied to almost the government infrastructure. He's almost like a city-approved vigilante now.
Mm-hmm.
So this Prometheus cat, it seems to me like, and it was at first the first time we saw him was like, oh, is he trying to frame the Arrow? Damn it, not this again. But now he's leaving people alive and saying his name. So that's not his game. So we got to say, what the hell does he want? He says he wants to kill the Arrow, but why? Is it going to be tied to the Bronfman thing? I don't know. I think that'd be a little ham-fisted, but they've done it in other seasons. It's kind of how the show works. I hope they stray away from that, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think it is?
I don't know, because I get this League of Assassins vibe from him, but
yeah, but can you go back to that well?
And I was just about to say, I don't know if you can go back to that well, so I don't know if you can do that. It would be interesting to see if somehow they made it Roy. But I don't know how you would do that, because we do know Colton Hayes is coming back to the show, so who knows? Right now, like you said, I don't have a good theory on it, and maybe they'll tie it to the flashbacks in Russia, but I'm kind of hoping they don't, because I think that's what kind of hurt them the last 2 seasons, and I've been really enjoying those flashbacks. Like the Rafa flashbacks to me are great, just because it's basically Oliver. It's showing how Oliver became a cold-hearted son of a bitch,
Yo, it's exactly what it is, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that shit where they kill the other ones, yo,
bruh, I knew it was gonna happen. Like, as some couples, like, yo, they're teaching them how to work together, but I'm like, yo, I bet you, because it's the Brafa, they're gonna, because remember, it's like only one of you guys get through, so they're gonna kill everybody else. So when Oliver
I
did that,
know all about that shit. I was very surprised.
Oh, I was not. I was like, oh man, Oliver, good for you getting everybody to work together, but you do realize that you just signed everybody's death warrant, right?
Yeah, you created problems for everyone else involved here.
Right. Oh man, that shit was just. And look, hey, he didn't walk away, did he?
Mm-mm.
He stayed. So, just saying, Oliver, you're part of the fucking problem. You're part of the problem. Part of the problem. Yeah, man. I have no idea who Prometheus might be. I think it's going to be a very interesting dynamic. It clearly
they've really given us nothing on him so far, aside from the 2 scenes.
Well, the interesting thing is, for a while there, I actually thought, because of kind of their math looked the same, I thought him and Ragman were the same at one point. So in the previews, I thought it was Ragman. I thought it was the same guy doing the terrorist attack, and it wasn't. So now you're like, all right, cool. Who is this dude?
Right.
I have no idea. And it's going to be interesting seeing. Yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing. I have no idea. So, do I have anything else to go with this? No, I like to keep the Arrow ones pretty straightforward.
I'm really excited for what they're doing with Thea, because she's the only one so far that's walked away, like completely from the life. She's determined to change her life, and I think that, like you said earlier, her arc's been really interesting. I hadn't really thought about it until you brought it up. Just from season 1 to now. Yeah. She's essentially the mayor of the city. Like, even Lance says, I think we got the wrong mayor queen.
Yeah. I mean, she has become a powerhouse, and she is one of the few outside of Oliver. She's actually one of those, unlike Oliver, where, with Oliver and even Batman in a way, Batman is more interesting than Bruce Wayne. Green Arrow is more interesting than Oliver Queen. With Thea is way more interesting than, hey, listen, I love her being the badass, and I love her putting on the red and kicking it. Love that. But she's way more interesting as Thea Queen, the person, because
who occasionally does that ninja shit to, like, spy on people.
Right, who occasionally does that ninja shit. Right, I love how all of a sudden she realized, she was like, huh, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right, Thea is a ninja.
She's still badass.
Right, Thea is a ninja, and she can do that. Oh, right. Love that, And like, did she have flats on? I don't know if she had flats on. Just like, so whatever, man. That's
it was very nonchalant.
Very nonchalant. So I love that she can do that. So I really like that, and I'm also very excited for what I want to see what they do with the arc with Quentin. So those are my 2 that I'm really looking out for. Thea and Quentin, because yeah. And the only other thing I would say that looks like it seems like we're missing, I would really love to know what's going on with Diggle's wife, Layla, because like she's still head of Argus.
Does Argus still exist?
Does Argus still exist? Yeah.
They let a nuke get dropped.
Right. So I would be interested in seeing what happened there. So, yeah.
Really strong second episode. I like the speed it's moving. I like that, like you said, thematically, you kind of cut through the two big themes of the show in 2 episodes.
Because you got to think about it. In last season, like I said, things picked up after they finally got the Legend of Tomorrow underway. But you got to remember, the beginning of that season was them trying to get, Sarah, bring Sarah back and do all this other stuff. Here, we're basically clean. We're starting clean. There's no need to really connect to everything else. We see the connections are there, but there's no real need to do that. So you're starting the season off, and I think this is something that even Stephen Amell made mention of last when they started season 5 is we're getting back to the basis of just focusing on Oliver and Arrow, and I think that's why it works. So to people out there who say, "Oh well, it feels like a rehash of season 1 and 2," like note the differences. But also realize that the reason why they're doing this is because the last 2-3 seasons, they've kind of been rushing to help somebody else, where in this one, they're helping themselves. So, yeah. So, anything else you got to say about this one?
Nothing. I like the pace they're setting up for the season, like I said. I'm excited for all the doors opening because I think Oliver as teacher and learning to be teacher and trying not to fall into the clearly more deliberately instructive ways of the Bratva. I think that's going to be interesting to see him adapt it to this crew and see how each of the crew adapts to it, because as we know, Evelyn's kind of built, she wants to fight, Mad Dog likes to fight, and Curtis can't fight. Right. So we'll see how each of the 3 develop.
And Ragman just wants vengeance.
And Ragman is he is the biggest wrench of it all, because he can call for vengeance against Felicity, and he's not wrong. I'm not saying she's at fault. I'm just saying he's not wrong.
Right. So, yeah, man, this is going to be kind of interesting. And here's the other thing, too. If Oliver puts this team together, in a way, this is a more powerhouse team than Oliver has ever had.
Right.
Like, hey, we like Diggle and everything like that, but and it loves having Sarah and everything, and even Thea. But you put this team together, you literally have somebody. He's not a metahuman. We have somebody with powers. You're gonna have somebody who is going to be has a stronger sonic device than Laurel did. And Wild Dog needs some help, and Curtis. But again, you're basically gonna have a Felicity in the field in a way with Tech. So that then leads me to believe if this goes even half of the way it's supposed to go, and you put the team out there, who do you have to go up against it that causes it trouble?
But also, this is Arrow, so there's no way it's going to go half of the. This is
no. This is gonna go terribly.
Screw it up a lot.
Somebody's still gonna die. And I think Felicity's still on the clock. Go ahead and
when you said Felicity in the field, I was like, but then why would you need
Hey, listen, what better time to kill Felicity than now when you've already said, oh, we had to scare her last season, no way they'll kill her now, and she's not with Oliver anymore, so Felicity is kind of dead, even though the way she looked at him, it's never dead.
Ever.
Yeah, dog. Felicity's still on that clock, so blame Chris on that one if you want to. But
I'm not gonna say you're wrong.
Just saying. Why would, as you say, why would you need another He already made the joke in in episode 1. Oh, somebody here who speaks Felicity. So why do you need Felicity? Just saying. All right, folks. Let's move on to part 2 of this, and this is Legend of Tomorrow. This episode is titled, what is this? Out of Time. When a new threat emerges, Dr. Nate Haywood seeks out Oliver Queen to help find the scattered legends. Once reunited, they go to 1942 to help keep Albert Einstein from being kidnapped before the Nazis destroy New York City with a nuclear bomb. That is not how that went down, but whatever. We're going to let that slide. All right, I'm just going to say this right now. Is it me or does this feel like just a reset?
There's a better show inside this show. It's called Sara Lance Seduces Women Through History.
Listen, dude.
There's a better show inside the show.
Sara Lance does anything she wants. Yeah.
Dude, she's the best character.
Yeah, no. Well, so that goes to why I said that I feel like this is a reset. Because by the end of the episode, I mean, I know he's going to be coming back. Arthur Duvall is probably going to come back at some point. But Rip is gone. And so who's going to be the leader of the team? I mean, I guess they're going to try to put Nate Haywood there. But let's be honest here. It's going to be Sara Lance.
Nate Haywood's their guide.
Yeah.
Sarah's the leader.
Sarah's the leader, which is, and this goes back to what we were saying last. This is why I say it feels like a reset. It feels like everything we said we had a problem with last season, they're slowly getting rid of. So they got rid of the Hawks. By the end of this episode, Rip Hunter is who knows where, and you're left with a team.
Now they don't have an expert.
Now they don't have an expert, and you're left with a person who we all kind of wanted to be in charge anyway, which is basically Sara Lance. I'm in. Like, okay, you got me. I mean, all right, I'll watch the show. I'll watch it. I mean, I just, yeah. And then again, we'll jump to the very, very end. The two reveals at the end of the episode make me really go, okay, yeah, I'm in. I got you.
Oh yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, we'll do that. I love the idea of bringing in Oliver. Again, the small crossover they do between all these shows that would work. Bringing in Oliver real quick as mayor and having Nate Haywood come up to him and basically, you're obviously the Green Arrow, and because and just going through the logic behind it, like, yeah, I can figure that out. It's like shortly after you came back, the Green Arrow showed up, so duh. I'm like,
well, not just that. It was a really big statement by the show that Oliver Queen's the first character you see. It reminds you it's the Arrowverse.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to go with this time, yes. This is still the Arrow's universe.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then we get, just a great, I really liked him being like, of course you're Green Arrow, stop being an asshole.
Right.
Will you please help your friends?
Right. And like I said, I remember when I saw original thing about it, they're going to get Albert Einstein. I was like, oh God, what the fuck is this shit? But I gotta say, the way they did it,
it was great.
It was pretty good. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense. I was like, oh,
it was fun. It was light. It was.
A nuclear bomb went off in 1942 in New York. Oh, okay, makes sense. Everything makes sense now. Oh, and by the way, Damien Dark is involved. Oh yeah, I'm definitely all the way in.
Like because it was a very heavy, like, the Nazis nuked New York is a very heavy meta premise for an episode.
Right.
But they had so much fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
They handled it with the writing was really deft. It was a really light touch and was a really kind of serious thing.
Well, not only was it a light touch, but you got with a serious topic. We had but there were a lot of serious things in here. You had the nukes. You had the fact that Oliver and them show up, and for what we see, the Wave Rider is underwater. Roy is in stasis, and you're like, wait, what the fuck happened here? Like, how did this happen? Are they dead?
Seems very bad.
Right, all of this seems very bad. You have, and we'll get into this later, but you have Sarah basically on a mission to find the target, which is Damien Dark, because he killed her sister, which again you go, oh, okay, yeah, we're laughing and joking here, but that's pretty serious.
And that's a bad idea with time travel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really bad idea.
Right.
And I'm glad someone called her. Was like, you do know that's like a horrible idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I don't care. I'm like, no, I'm really glad you guys are all here because someone should care.
Right.
Like, I'm at home like, that's a terrible idea, Sarah.
Right.
Got me over here cheering for Damien Dark. I didn't know it was in me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, no, I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed, it feels like, they are more focused again because you can just jump right in, and you're not out over here chasing after one person. and Randall Savage, and what seems like an endless dumb plot point. Because again, remember, those are the episodes we didn't like. When they weren't chasing after Randall Savage and they didn't have the Hawks involved, we were like, hey, we really enjoy these episodes. These can actually be pretty good.
Yeah, because they could move. They could, like I said, just with Arrow, this shows its best when it's going 1,000 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. And if you're getting bogged down with all kind of crappy history, you're not going to move that quickly.
Right. So what you see here is from what we know from this episode, is there's somebody out there trying to change time, give Nazis nuclear weapons, and basically change the course of history. And with no time masters, the legends are out here trying to fix all that stuff. Because even when, we laugh about, Sarah trying to seduce a queen, which again, I would definitely watch a show of Sara Lance seducing women through.
In her defense, as Sarah mentioned, the queen seduced her.
She didn't fight it.
She's a very good seductress. What do you want me to say? Give the queen some credit.
Like, I was watching that scene going, wait a minute, it's the queen?
She is.
And I love how, because you always have that scene where the man comes out of the room and zips up his pants. You literally had the scene where Sarah doing that. And she's coming out and her hair's all messed up and her dress is all messed up. And you're just like, Sarah, did you? And she's like, she's all warmed up for you. I watched the fuck out of this show. But you had the other aspect of
it'd be a great show.
The assassins that were there were armed with future tech. So they were like, hey, wait a minute, there's something else going on here. How'd they get future tech? So you're left thinking to yourself, okay, there's a larger thing going on here. And the first reveal at the end of the episode, which we knew was happening, we knew he was going to be in the show, but I loved his introduction, Earball Thawne. Which he comes in and basically breaks the neck of everybody on the bridge of the submarine. Which, yeah.
I'm just saying, you want to send the message, that's a very good way to do so, although you've now left no messenger.
Right. No
one's going to know to be that scared of you. Right. I guess they'll find a submarine with a bunch of people with broken necks. That's pretty terrifying.
Yeah, there is that. So that already shows you that you now have, and we know we're basically getting, with the Legion of Doom, you're basically getting Damien Dark, Eobard Thawne working together. I believe Vandal Savage as well, right? They're bringing Vandal back. Were they? Can't remember.
And Captain Cold, and I believe
Captain Cold, yeah.
Merlin as well.
Right. Yes, because Merlin is definitely...
Which is going to be the most scene-chewing bad guys of all time. Like, when they're all in a room, you should probably step 2 feet further back from your television.
But again, remember, this kind of goes back to something we talked about last season, where it's like, listen, and it also went back to, we even said in our Suicide Squad review discussion was, listen, when you have a team, you need to have them go up against a team. Having a team go up against one guy...
It's weird and unbalanced.
Very, especially when that guy isn't that powerful. And I'm sorry, Vandal Savage shouldn't have been that powerful. So now when you have Legends versus this team, you're going to need help. You're going to need the GSA. You're going to need that because holy shit, man. Damien Dark.
It's awesome.
Damien Dark and Reverse Flash alone. Then you add in Malcolm Merlin. Then you add in Vandal Savage. Then you add in Captain Cold. Oh, fuck no, man.
This is the most comic book shit in the world.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Exactly. So you get that. Then you get the GSA reveal at the end. And again, I kept my shit together until what's her name floated down.
Stargirl, man.
Stargirl. Yeah, when Stargirl floated down, I was like,
damn.
I kept my shit together. I was like, oh, okay, this is cute. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is gonna be good. And here's the other thing too. So
funny story, not so funny story. Interesting origin of Stargirl. She was invented by Jeff Johns, and she's modeled after his sister who passed away in one of those was it AirTran value jet crashes.
Oh wow.
So he made her and this is gotta be super cool for him just because he created her as a tribute to his sister, and now she's on television.
Right. No, that's awesome.
This character, man, that's
and it makes me think. So if you're getting Legend of Tomorrow, you have Earball Thawne, and he's clearly going through time. The one thing, and we have said this before, this GSA does not have, it does not have Jay Garrick, from what we can see.
It doesn't have any member of the big three.
But here's the thing. If Earball's there, at some point, you have to bring in Jay Garrick, right?
Oh, just tactically, you need a speedster.
You need a speedster. So at some point, Jay got to show up.
You know what's even better?
If he brings in Barry?
No. Do you remember when, end of season 1 of Flash?
Oh, yes.
When the helmet comes through, he says,
yes.
That's my cue.
Yes. So
why would he have already known Jay? Dude, if Jay didn't get the helmet until the end of season 2,
mm-hmm.
he stole that from Zoom. He's like, I never wore a helmet before. I guess I will now.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to see their meeting.
Yo, because we got to, right? You got to. You have to. Like, as soon as...
This is time travel. Time travel's amazing.
Right. Now, I'm just saying, because I watched Earball come in, and I was like, all right, so I knew he was going to be there, but once you see him, I'm like, okay, you have to have another speedster to go against him, because you're fucked. So, where are you going to get? Well, Barry's got his hands tied, but, Jay Garrick's keeping an eye on the time stream, right? So...
Jay Garrick. You're right, and they're making all these changes.
Mm-hmm. And then you go back to season 1 where Earblood, recognized that helmet and is like, it's my cue to go. I can't be here. Like at some point, wouldn't it be cool if at some point in this season, Jay Garrick throws his helmet at Earblood, but Earblood goes into the time stream and disappears, but the helmet disappears too, doesn't come back.
By the way, CW, I'm here for Jay Garrick Time Cop as a show.
Yeah. Yes.
I am here for that. If you wanted to actually scrap Legends and just to make them his supporting cast, that's fine.
Look, as soon as I saw Earball, I immediately went to Legend Tomorrow. I was like, okay, I went to John Wesley Shipp's IMDb and was like, all right, is he going to be on? Wait, they don't have a listed here. But he's got to be, right? You got to bring in Jay Garrick at this point.
Yeah, they got to keep it under wraps. They may not announce it, but it's happening.
Yeah, you got it.
He's gonna show up at the end of an episode like, the hell are you people doing?
or
talking to Barry. What are you idiots doing?
Or in the middle of a fight when Earball's fucking people up, and all of a sudden a hand just grabs him at super speed and yanks him away, yo. Like he did Barry in the Speed Force.
The entrance is gonna be the dopest shit in the world.
Yes, I can't wait. Like, I'm not gonna lie. So again, I enjoyed this episode. But those two revealed at the end of this episode are what got me like, oh, I can't wait for this fucking season.
That's a really good point, because that's a really well put together episode. Because now I'm just chomping at the bit, like, please just give me. Why are we waiting for next week? Just dump all 20 episodes right now in my laptop.
Yeah. Got to do it, man. Jay Garrick got to show up.
If Jay Garrick doesn't show up,
no, this season is a fucking trash.
I will re-record every one of these. Every one of the nice ones. I will re-record all of them.
Right.
Fuck this show.
You better
big ass show.
Like there's got to be somebody from WB listen to this go, hey, we listen to Super Tuesday recap, and I just realized, guys, hey, maybe we should put Jay Garrick in one of these episodes. We kind of didn't do, but no, I mean, I have confidence in this because nothing this show does is without purpose. And again, that whole thing with Thawne going, that's my cue when he sees that helmet, that wasn't a fluke. And remember, that's at the end of Thawne's timeline because he dies right after that. So that means he's had to have met Jay Garrick at some point.
We're about to see it.
Gotta do it, man.
We're about to see it. If you don't show me a super speed fight legend tomorrow, I don't know. It's not going to be pretty.
We will have words.
Strong words.
We will have strong words. So,
or better yet, you know what? Don't give us Jay Garrick. Don't. Give me Bart Allen.
Oh, come listen.
Look.
Listen. Let's. If Impulse
shows up on CW programming, I don't know what I'll do. I may make some ridiculous claim in a couple weeks that if that happens, yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm in, man. Like, so, real quick before we wrap this up, I don't think you saw Supergirl this week, right?
I didn't.
You still didn't see Supergirl, but so far, at this point, you've seen all the CW shows with the exception of Supergirl. I've seen that. What's your impression so far of this week? I mean, granted, we're 2 weeks into the Flash, but we now got Arrow and Legend of Tomorrow.
I feel like this is Berlanti like sitting down and like cracking his knuckles and like, here we go.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's really about to flex.
Yeah.
I think they've got all the shows kind of, none of them are vehicles for other things now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they said that this is pretty much where, I think 4 shows on one network is probably stretching it for production company standpoint. Mm-hmm. 4 interconnected shows, not just 4 standalones. Right. 4 interconnected, same universe, playing off each other's shows. It's got to be a tough act to pull off. And I think that we're in for a real. If they pull it off, it's going to be great. And I have all the faith they will.
Yeah. I mean, and we've already seen crossovers between all these shows already in many ways.
Felicity was on The Flash. Green Arrow was on Legends.
Yeah. I mean, it's already been there. So I definitely... I'm with you. I really feel like last season for everything's kind of suffered because they were trying to get Legend of Tomorrow off the road and off the ground,
which made sense. It was a priority, and we get it.
Yeah, and I never really held it too much against it because the stories to me were still they had some stumbles. They were still for the most part still pretty good. And that's also why I don't really rush about CW getting any other shows because again, it takes. You're now seeing why it takes work to make sure all this stuff works together, and how it,
right.
and I like I just talked to Matt Ryan. Constantine. I would love to have Constantine come back and be live action and do it on the CW, but at some point you got to realize CW just isn't the comic book network, and they do have other things. And at
this other point, shit here too.
I mean, literally they're doing a show. A comic book show every day of the week during the week. I mean, except for Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I mean, that is more than anybody else.
And then iZombie is a comic book show too.
Oh shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, I'm talking about the interconnected ones. So if we go to bring in iZombie, it's at some point, man, we got to sit there and just. I think this is one of the times where they got to breathe and let them do their own thing. And I mean, when you catch up on Supergirl, you see even with Supergirl. Well, I think it gives them a little more room because they don't feel the pressure to always have it in the same universe, which is where I think that I honestly think, and this goes back to what you were saying about how Supergirl breaks the CW, the Arrowverse, they make her part of that universe completely. I think this is the reason why they were able to bring Supergirl over to CW is with the idea that it wasn't going to be 100% part of the Earth 1, if you will, universe, Earth Prime universe of Arrow. Because it is so much work to make sure, like I said, these little things, like that little thing from season 1 of Jay Garrick's helmet coming through the portal. Us
being like, was that Jay Garrick's helmet?
Right. And now you have Eobard Thawne on Legend of Tomorrow, and you have the GSA, and you're like, wait a minute, but isn't a big member of the GSA, hold on, like, that's a lot to keep a track of. It's a lot of little things, and so like I'm always seeing these articles from people who don't know any better talking about how this week Arrow or Flash breaks its own timeline. They break the show by doing, and they don't realize that no, it doesn't break anything. But I think the more and more you add in, the harder it is to keep track of all these little threads because they got so many little things here going over here and there doing that. I mean, even down to the fact of now Baby Sarah is now Baby John. And we got John Diggle Jr. on Legend of Tomorrow. I mean, like, that's an incredible, you got to understand how incredible that is. That is very, very comic booky. So I definitely see why I think they could do more comic book shows, but it would be so hard to keep all those threads together and separate and make them work. And again, that's why Supergirl saying on her own little Earth 3, was it Earth 3?
Nope, Jay's in Earth 3.
Earth 3. So whatever her Earth
3 is Jay, yeah.
So whatever her Earth is, and going from there. So, yeah. Well, actually, Supergirl could be Earth 3.
Oh, wow. Well, no.
Could it?
She's remember during the crossover, did you say we have no one who has your powers?
Oh, okay.
I think that was alluded to.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I mean, they could make it Earth.
They definitely could. That'd be really, wow, that'd be great.
So.
Huh.
We'll see, though. We'll see what happens. Yeah, there you guys have it. Super Tuesday recap for Arrow and Legend of Tomorrow. Yeah. Again, leave us a 5-star review. We'll read it on air or send us an email, and we will read it. I don't think we got anything for Arrow or Legend of Tomorrow. We did get a review. There was one for an email for Supergirl. I'm going to forward that one to Shannon and the Doctor so they can read it on their Super Tuesday recap review, because I appreciate the fact that I can just watch Supergirl and not have to worry about doing a review for it. So. Anyway, coming up for us, we're going to just rather record our Luke Cage Super Tuesday recap review. Also, the unanimous decision, I'll be on that this week. And it's also now on iTunes on his own feed. So now you don't have to worry about it being buried among all the goodness here. And again, I highly recommend you subscribe to the individual feeds just because there's so much stuff coming out right now. It's easier to keep track of if you get it on your own feed, get it on its own feed. So search for unanimous decision on there. And I believe next week or soon after, we'll be doing a character corner on the Justice Society of America, the JSA. So keep track of that. And I think after that, we'll be doing Doctor Strange. So a lot of stuff coming out for us, man. A lot of stuff because we don't sleep. So
Nope.
Enjoy it and let us know what you guys think. And until next time, we're out of here. Peace.